Hi guys, Patrick from Santa Barbara English. So today's video is about daily life English, or what I also call situational English. So it's very simple. You look at a situation like meeting people or going to a restaurant or riding the bus, and you say, okay, what is the vocabulary I need for this situation? And what are some phrases that I'm going to hear and that I'm going to say? And what are some of the cultural differences that I need to know? For example, something simple like tipping. What percentage do I tip? How do I tip with a credit card? Just some simple things like that. Now, the way that I teach this is I have made lessons for different situations. And I'm going to be putting these lessons online as I put all of my lessons online. But for one today, for example, this is my restaurant lesson. It's very simple. I just have a page of vocabulary. I have a page or two of useful phrases that the staff at the restaurant might ask you. And I have some sample conversations. And the way that we do this is I go through this with my students, and then to practice, I like to use a picture dictionary. So these are some of my picture dictionaries. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're great. Let me show you. So a picture dictionary is different sections for different things in life. You might have tools, you've got vegetables, you've got parts of the city, you've got transportation, you've got sports and activities and animals and everything you need. So for example, for a restaurant lesson, I have the students go to something like this where there's a menu and we do a little bit of role playing, and they order something. If they order the hamburger, I say, how do you want that cooked? If you order the salad, I say, what kind of dressing would you like? Would you like that on the side? And we just practice it, right? Then after, they go out to the restaurant. So that's the important part, to study it and then to go use it. And it's very helpful just to see what are some of the surprises or some questions that they might ask you that you didn't think about. For example, if you go to a restaurant by the beach, there's no free parking, but if you go to a restaurant, they can give you a stamp and give you free parking. So they might ask you, do you need me to validate your parking? And if you see the phrase, it's just convenient because you're not surprised by it. So picture dictionaries are great. I have this one is a European one, and you can see when you look at like the bars, or the restaurants, it's very European. This is what it's going to look like. This is the type of places that you're going to see. And if you look at, for example, my Chinese one, if you look at the food or the restaurants there, like for the night market in Taiwan, it's much more practical here. We've got stinky tofu and some noodles. If I look at the hospital section here, we've got you get traditional hospitals, but then you also get Chinese medicine. So it's important to buy the book that you're going to use in that environment. The one that I recommend for America, for Japanese, is called Oxford Picture Dictionary. The second edition is great. I don't have it right now because one of my students is borrowing it, but I'll put a link down below. Oxford Picture Dictionary. That one's great because the taxis and the houses and the city, and it's very American in it. I can show people when we do the vocabulary lessons, like I was saying attic and church and lawn, I can show you this is a lawn. This is a lawn. There's a lawn in the front yard and there's a lawn in the backyard, and they can really see the vocabulary. And the restaurants are very much like the restaurants here. So it's always important to have the dictionary that looks like where you'll be living. And the way that I study this, so for example, if I'm in Taiwan, before I go to the supermarket, I go to the supermarket page here and I make a copy and I fold that up, put it in my pocket, and then when I'm out shopping and I like, what is this vegetable called? What is that? I can just pull it out, look at it. Oh yeah, that's Thai or whatever. So that's how I do it, and it's very practical. I don't have to carry the whole book around. So some people only want to study daily life English or situational English. Many students say "日常会話勉強したい," but it's important, but it's not everything. When you do go out to the restaurant with your friends, it's great that you know how to order, but remember, you do need the culture and the listening and the communication and the other things in my videos that I mentioned, because that's how you have the conversation with people, right? So it's important, but it's not everything. Also, don't spend all day studying these things. it's better to study a little bit, to focus on something. Here's some vocab, here's some grammar, okay, good. Then go out and practice it. Some people on like a Monday, if I have a new student and I ask them, what did you do on the weekend? They will say, oh, all day Saturday and all day Sunday I studied in the library. That's not good. You don't want to study all day. You're much better to practice all day, right? I mean, think about this. If somebody said, I read a book on guitar all day, and somebody said, I practice guitar all day, the person who's practicing is going to get much better. You only need a little bit of studying and a little bit of guidance to say, hey, this is what you need to learn, and then practice it. So don't stay in the library all day. Spend 20 minutes looking at the food and then go to the supermarket. Spend 20 minutes reviewing the shopping vocabulary and then go shopping, or whatever your interests are. Look at the animals and then go to the zoo. So this is a great way to get students out into the city, experiencing things and practicing things. And when they do that, when they switch from all-day library to going out, their English level goes up a lot. They start making friends, and they're just way more comfortable because, oh, they can ride the bus downtown, that's their favorite cafe, this bar's got a great happy hour, and they're living in the language and in the culture, and they're using it. Much better than studying all day. It's also a good chance to see the culture on a little bit of a deeper level. When you can see the kids in a park playing games, you can see people in a restaurant on a first date, you can see a couple in a cafe having a fight. Just cultural things that you'll never experience just reading textbooks. It's also a good chance for the teacher to give a little bit of advice. This is my favorite taxi company, they're very professional. This restaurant has great breakfasts, that bar's got a nice happy hour. So I can sort of guide them in the city a little bit. This type of learning is also the easiest type of learning because it's just very practical, and if you don't get it the first time, you go out to the restaurant, maybe you remember half of the words, but then the second time or the third time, you've got it. It's fine. It's very practical. Especially if somebody's helping you and saying, oh, they like to ask you if you have a point card, or they like to ask you if you need the parking validated. And then you just explain it to somebody. That way you don't have to get in a panic when there's this English that you never heard of before. Okay, so Daily Life English or Situational English is something that I recommend. Oxford Picture Dictionary is the one that I use. I'll be putting these lessons online as I update my textbook. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.